Good morning, listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Thunder 91. My name is John, and this is the Global Beat, where every Wednesday at 10, I bring you music from artists from around the world and interviews with international students who are studying here on SUU's campus. Unfortunately, I seem to have caught the bug that's been going around campus, so I've been feeling a bit under the weather recently, hence the stuffy, raspy voice I'm bringing on air with me today. This morning, we're going to be joined by Tiago, who is SUU's sole representative from the country of Portugal. We'll get to hear a lot more from his home country and a take on his experiences here at Southern Utah University in just a few minutes. I'm going to start off things today with a feel-good tune to try to lift our collective spirits. This is a song that many people are familiar with, though most know the cover, which has become far more widespread than the original. Blondie popularized the song in 1980, but the Paragons, a reggae group from Jamaica, were the first to record it back in 1966. This is The Tide is High on Thunder 91.
Just like that. No, it's not the things you do that really hurts me bad, but it's the way you do the things you do to me. I'm not the kind of man who gives up just like that. No, the tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one, number one, number one. Every man wants you to be his girl, but I'll wait, my dear, till it's my turn. I'm not the kind of man who gives up just like that. No. Every man wants you to be his girl, but I'll wait, my dear, till it's my turn. I'm not the kind of man who gives up just like that. No, the tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. The tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. The tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your
Ils s'étaient rencontrés sur les bancs de l'école, entre une heure de colle, de maths ou un cours d'espagnol. C'était une fille fun, fanat de football. Lui ne craignait pas les balles, c'était le goal. Ce qu'il lui promettait, c'était des balades en corvette. Pour l'instant en survette, il volait des mobilettes. Mais entre eux c'était toujours complicité. Escale sur un piédestal, un rêve délimité. S'il devenait triangle, elle serait rectangle. La belle et le bad boy, le triangle rectangle. C'est comme passer de Jodassin à Jodessi. Un vrai truc de ouf, style pur clip de R&B. Elle vit le grand amour qui commence dans la course, se poursuit dans les tours et rime toujours avec toujours. Mais le contexte est plus fort que le concept. Son mec se jette dans des flammes et il se lave avec. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy, les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. Pour gagner des sous ensemble, parle sans faire semblant de faire des coups ensemble. Et si c'est sanglant, ils plaident devant Dieu ensemble. Il était convaincant, elle était convaincue à croire qu'aujourd'hui s'arrêter était exclu. Il trafique des faux billets avec des réseaux slaves, balance la concurrence. En France, c'est un délit grave, risqué pour les pommettes. Les mecs sortent des baumettes, une a qu'un truc en tête, c'est la quête de sa corvette. Ambiance paranoïaque, l'équipe adverse traîne, des projectiles partent quand une BM freine. Quand elle tombe, il a les larmes aux yeux. 2 balles de 22 ans adieu. Le contexte est plus fort que le concept. Son mec s'est jeté dans des flammes, faut qu'il se lave avec. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble. La belle et le bad boy. Les sous-ensembles, dans les grands ensembles, ça semble.
You're listening to The Global Beat on Thunder 91.1, and that was La Belle et le Bad Boy by French hip-hop artist MC Solaar. He was born in Senegal in West Africa, but grew up and got his footing as an artist in Paris, France. All right, I'm here with my man Tiago in the studio. Tiago,
Woo!
how's it going?
Everything's good. How are you?
Good, man. A little under the weather, a little stuffed up, but I'm powering through it.
I have to say before everything that I would pay to talk with you, okay? This is not...
Not that he is being paid, but he would, because he's so excited to be here.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you, so
Awesome.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm happy you're here with us in the studio, man. We're going to talk a little bit about your home country of Portugal.
Yeah,
I mentioned earlier that you're the only student here from Portugal.
from Portugal.
How does that feel? Do you,
The
do
only
you feel
one
pressure?
in probably Utah, I know. I don't know.
I bet there are some more up
In Salt
north.
Lake, probably.
Yeah.
But in Cedar, I heard a few rumors about more Portuguese, but I think it's more Brazilians than Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
I never met Portuguese here. I met missionaries, people from here who served mission, the LDS mission in Portugal, but not Portuguese people.
Do you speak Portuguese with them
Yeah,
sometimes?
they have the Portuguese accent. Yeah,
Not the Brazilian accent.
not the Brazilian
different,
accent.
huh?
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
So tell us where you're from in Portugal.
So I'm from the capital, Lisbon, but I don't live right in the center of the city. I live in the suburbs. I live in a town called Cascais, which is close to the ocean. And there's actually, if you guys, the ones that are listening, if you go online and you search for Cascais surfing competition, it's happening right now, an international well-known surfing competition there, because the place is really well-known for the waves and the surfing. So I grew up by that culture. I grew up by the ocean. I lived there 10 minutes driving a bicycle from the beach, and it's really good.
It's a big change up
I don't
coming
have
here.
that in Utah.
Yeah. And you're a surfer, right?
I used to be. I surf. Being a surfer is it's more a lifestyle than the practice of going every day. So I consider myself a surfer because I grew up by the culture. I have a lot of friends from the surfing culture. I still need to go to see the ocean, feel all that environment. So I still consider myself a surfer, but I don't practice mostly because I'm far away, and Yeah.
The closest you can get here is probably snowboarding.
Yeah.
I think you should try that this winter.
Or
See if the skills translate.
driving for 8 hours to get to California, right?
Yeah.
8 hours or more.
You can get to LA in about 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more to get to the beach. So what's something that people should know about Portugal that they might not know?
Portugal, it's an old country, more than 2,000 years. Not Portugal as a country, but civilizations living there and constructing the place. We had Romans, we had the Roman Empire, we had people before, we had Visigoths, we had Moors, all the Muslims, we had. So it's an old country. There's a lot of historical monuments and buildings. You can see that in all over the Europe, right? But in Portugal, because there's Portugal and Spain are well known by the weather when you compare it to the rest of Europe, and there's amazing food, especially in Lisbon. I can talk more about Lisbon, my city. There's amazing food, amazing wine, amazing people. People are really gentle. People are really open to receive tourists. It's incredible.
Yeah, I can echo that. I was in Lisbon in 2012, so 5 years ago. I spent about a week in Portugal, and one of my favorite places I've ever been. Really, really open and receptive people. I felt really welcomed, like you mentioned. People would just wave at me on the streets and invite me into their house and have me try food.
Portuguese people, we say that it's 8 or 80. Like if they like you like the first contact, they give you everything. They open their house, they give you food, they give you place to sleep, they give you everything. If they don't like you, it's the opposite. They will make everything to make sure you're away.
They'll either open their doors wide open or shut them.
Yeah,
pretty quickly. Yeah, I think I was really amazed by my experience in Portugal, and would love to go back at some point and maybe surf some of those famous waves too.
Yeah, everyone should go.
Yeah. Do you think there are any misconceptions about Portugal?
There are always some misconceptions. I don't know. Probably the most significant one is like a lot of people still don't know in America, still don't know where is exactly Portugal. Some of them think that it's a province from Spain or it belongs to Spain. So it's not clear. But I understand because in US the Spanish culture is bigger. Because of South America, it's bigger than the Portuguese culture and the rest of Europe, so it's normal. I don't really give too much value to misconceptions. I have to do my job, which is if people don't know, I present, I can introduce my country, and so that's my job.
Sure. And I think a lot of people, when they think about just Portuguese, the language, they associate it with Brazil, right? So do you ever find yourself making a lot of distinctions between Portuguese culture and Brazilian culture? Actually,
sometimes it's pretty, I can do it like a lot of times, but a lot of times happen that people ask me like, so in Portugal you speak Portuguese, right? And I said, Portuguese.
Not just a coincidence.
And so there's still a lot of that, but it's funny. I can explain. I don't care. I will not take it personal if people don't know it. I can explain.
Yeah, what I noticed when I was in Portugal is Portuguese people are very proud to be Portuguese. I made, I think, what is a common mistake when I went there. I mean, I speak Spanish pretty well. And at the time, I didn't speak any Portuguese, and so my attempt, I thought it would be
to speak
would be better for me to try to
to hablar un poquito
de español. Sí. And what I found pretty quickly was that people appreciated it more when I just spoke English rather than Spanish. So I think Portuguese people are very proud of their language and of their culture. And so I've learned some Portuguese now, so I would feel more comfortable going back to Portugal and speaking it. But I think that I sensed that pride when I was there. And I think that that's evident in Portuguese people and in you.
Yeah.
You're proud?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. I guess it's a different type of proud. I think there it's a proud with more. I don't know. It's a complex idea. I will not compare because it's easy to compare with the U.S. or different countries. But I think it's a different type of proud. I think Americans. Now comparing to the place I'm living right now, are more proud in the sense that they put flags outside. They carry T-shirts with American flag, and Portuguese people don't do that stuff that much. They don't show it that much. But when you have deep conversations, probably you will understand a patriotic sense of their culture with more content, with more, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
People talk a lot about the poets, about the fado music, and about the history, and
more deeply rooted in cultural aspects. Yeah, I can see that. And I think that probably stems from a lot of, you mentioned the long history too. There's been a lot of time for some of that culture to develop in Portugal. If someone visited Portugal, what would you tell them they have to do or try?
I was waiting for that question. I will definitely take it to the whole neighborhoods. We have, for example, Alfama. It's one of the old neighborhoods. It's from the Moors' time, so it's from the 8th century. So it's more than 1,000 years existence. And Alfama comes from the Arab word al-Hama. I don't know if I'm saying with the right accent, probably not, but it's al-Hama, which means geysers. And because back in the time there were some geysers in Lisbon, then the place were famous for that and the weather. And so they stayed on that neighborhood, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. It's one of the oldest. And then so in the 12th century, the Moors had a big wars with the Christians, the Crusaders that everyone talks about. And after the Christians conquered the city, they put the Moors in another neighborhood that it's called Moraria, which is the neighborhood of the Moors. Moraria comes from Moors. And so that one is also one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city from the 12th century. So we have one neighborhood with more than 1,000 years, and we have another neighborhood with almost 1,000 years. So they are really old, and when you just walk in the city, of course the houses are not the same because we had earthquakes, and so we had reconstructions and all that stuff. But you feel there's a lot of old things and a lot of like the teeny streets. You feel the old environment, so it's really good.
Cool. What kind of things would you have them try? Like what kind of foods?
The fado. There's a lot of fado restaurants. Fado, it's the traditional song from Portugal. It's difficult to explain. It's difficult to explain the song. People can go search online fado music, if Fado, fado, and they can listen to it. They can taste the traditional food in the neighborhoods. They can just walk. There's a lot of Lisbon. It was constructed in hills. So it's a difficult city to walk. Because it's an old city, the streets are really teeny, because we have to imagine that back in the time people didn't have cars. They just walked. They had horses. They had horse cars, more in the 15th century. So back in the time, they just walked. So they didn't need like big streets like we have here in the US. So the streets are really teeny, and just the environment and the people grew up. If you go to Lisbon, you will see that people know each other. They grew up there. They stay in the street. It's a really good environment.
Yeah, there's a real sense of lively community in Lisbon. I think when I was out on the streets, that's what I noticed most, is a lot of kids running around, a lot of families, a lot of neighbors.
There are a lot of tiles too. The tile is really typical from the Portuguese tradition. We took we're bringing the tile from India, and the culture that we bring it from India. So you see a lot of colors, different colors in the buildings, and yeah, a lot of beautiful architecture in Lisbon. Awesome. And they have to try the egg tarts, right? The egg tart. Yeah.
What is that? How do you say it in Portuguese?
Pastéis de Belém.
Yeah.
That's a famous one.
Yeah.
The egg tart is the general name for the bakery, but the pastéis de Belém, it's the typical from Belém. Belém is the place.
One of the best things I've ever had in my life. I miss him. All right. Thanks, Tiago. We'll be back with Tiago in just a few minutes to talk a little bit more about his experience here at SUU. This next group is a roots and jam band from Fremantle, Australia. These guys shred on the slide guitar, which in my opinion is underutilized in music these days. This is the John Butler Trio with Zebra on Thunder 91.
I could be loud, man, I could be silent. I could be young, man, I could be old. I could be a gentleman, I could be violent. I could turn hot, man, I could be cold. I could be just like the calm before the storm, waiting for all hell, yeah, to break loose. I could be innocent, I could be guilty. Doesn't mean that I will believe in the news. So sing it along. يا حبيبي حبيبي تعال تعال نحلم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم أنا ذنبي إيش شيلوني هم يا حبيبي حبيبي المانجا والتفاح حبيبي عسل والناس مساح حبيبي المانجا والتفاح حبيبي عسل والناس مساح حبيبي عسل والناس مساح أهاجر لك عشان ارتاح يا حبيبي حبيبي تعال تعال نحلم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم أنا ذنبي إيش شيلوني هم يا حبيبي حستناك أنا في البحر محل الطير هاجر رحل حستناك أنا في البحر محل الطير هاجر رحل محل الطير هاجر رحل أنت من هنا ولا من زحل يا حبيبي حبيبي تعال تعال نحلم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم أنا ذنبي إيش شيلوني هم يا حبيبي حبيبي تعال نبل الشوق نسكن لندن عمارات فوق حبيبي تعال نبل الشوق نسكن لندن عمارات فوق نسكن لندن عمارات فوق عشان خاطر الحب والذوق يا حبيبي حبيبي تعال تعال نحلم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم مدام الريد اختلط بالدم أنا ذنبي إيش شيلوني هم يا حبيبي حستناك عن طريق القاش حبيبي ذهب والناس نحاس حستناك عن طريق القاش حبيبي ذهب والناس نحاس حبيبي ذهب والناس نحاس الريدة كده ولا بلاش 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 الريدة كده ولا بلاش
All right, you're listening to the Global Beat on Thunder 91.1, and that was Alsarah and the Nubatones with their song Habibi Taal. Alsarah, the singer for the group, was born in Sudan and lived there until she was 8 and then fled with her family to Yemen. After living in Yemen for about 4 years, a civil war broke out and her family moved to the United States, where she attended university, and she now lives and performs out of Brooklyn, New York. So I am back here in the studio with Tiago from Portugal. Tiago, we're going to talk about your experience here in the United States. Sound good?
Sounds good.
What were your first impressions when you came to Cedar City?
That was really cold.
You came in winter, huh?
I came in winter. Was December the 27th, and was really cold. Was snow. There's no. In Lisbon, we can have cold days, but we don't have snow, and it's a different type of cold. But I think it's one of the hardest things for me here. It's the cold and the wind. It's really windy almost all the time. I think it's my biggest struggle here in Cedar City.
Yeah, and now we're approaching winter again, so I hope you've gotten some warm clothes.
Of course, in terms of weather, there's much more that I've been struggling with in Cedar.
Sure. So what would in Portugal, what would like a cold day be? What temperature would be considered cold?
We can have 5 Celsius, which is
Maybe in like the mid 40s.
I
Probably.
don't know.
Probably in the 40s.
Do you want me to ask Siri?
It's okay. I have a pretty good Celsius to Fahrenheit converter in my
Yeah.
head. So yeah, so like it wouldn't be below freezing though.
Yeah, no. We
Are-
don't have snow in Lisbon, like I said.
Are there any places in Portugal where you'd find snow?
Yeah, there are mountains, but the highest mountain in Portugal is like the altitude of Cedar City. So
Yeah,
it's more or less the same temperature there.
sure.
It's dry. It's too warm during the summer, too cold during the winter. It's called Serra da Estrela.
Mm,
It's the highest point in Portugal.
gotcha. So before you came here, did you do a lot of research on Cedar City in Utah?
Not that much. I researched about the culture. Of course, I researched about the Mormon culture and the LDS church, but not deeply research. I was more focused on getting my papers done and enjoying the last weeks with my friends there, and and drinking the last beers.
Sure. Yeah, celebrating with your friends. We got some fans outside here. So when you got here, you said it was December 27th.
Yeah.
Middle of the night, right?
Yes.
When you arrived.
Yes.
Okay. How did that feel when you first got here? Did you feel excited? Did you feel a little bit nervous?
No, I was excited because I wanted to live abroad and to live out of my hometown for a while. So I was excited for the goals. I have a lot of goals in my life, and I try to concentrate on that goals and try to even if there's culturally if it's completely different, but because I'm focused on my goals, I try to just concentrate on that. And so I was really concerned in starting the classes really good, and was actually my best semester, was my first one, and I was really concentrated on my studies and try to have good grades and because I never studied in English before. I studied English, but I didn't study in English, having classes speaking English all the time. So
Was that a big challenge for you, that first semester? I mean, you said it was your best semester. You mean in terms of grades?
it was a challenge, but it was the best one. Was a challenge. Of course, the first classes are not too difficult comparing to the classes I have right now, and but was challenging, of course.
Sure.
It was challenging to live out of your place. Was challenging to, But because I was focused, like I said, I just kept working. Kept working.
I remember the first time I took a class in a different language when I studied abroad. I took some political science classes taught in Spanish, and I was in way over my head. I had no idea what was happening. And that's kind of that can be a challenging place to be in class, feeling like everyone else is understanding what's going on. Obviously, your English is a lot better than my Spanish was at the time. So,
but I
You're probably
improved a
less lost than
lot.
I
I
was.
improved a lot since my first semester here. I improved a lot in my English, and the first few months, I understood that some professors were not caring about if I was international or not. They will not explain me slowly and with more detail to just me just because I was a foreigner. No, that will not happen. They were talking clearly to Americans and to the environment they have here, but was me the one that had to pursue that and try to talk with them and try to tell them that some of the things I was not understanding, try to make my work in office hours and all this stuff, and I always did that, and that's why I improved a lot.
yeah, I think you took a lot of responsibility for that in improving your English, and I've seen a lot of.
I
a lot
don't
of improvement.
expect the school just to educate me. I have to go and search for my opportunities. I don't wait just for the professor to teach me.
Yeah, that's a good mentality. What are some of the differences you've noticed in the culture here? We mentioned a few things about like the weather and the environment. What are some of the cultural aspects that you've noticed that are major changes from Portugal to here?
The ones that I struggle the most are related to alcohol and gun weapons. The religion, the religious culture. Portugal, it's a pretty religious country, so I mean we don't have missionaries in the street, but it doesn't bother me that people are really religious, even if I'm not. Doesn't bother me. Bother me more, or at least it's the one that I struggle more, because in Portugal I can grab a beer and drink in the streets. I can stay in a club till 8 in the morning if I want. There's not many rules for the entertainment related to clubbing and partying and alcohol. And people, there's a lot of education in schools. So my mom is a professor. She's a primary school professor, and I know how it works. There's a lot of education related to alcohol, to sexual relations. So the students have a lot of responsibility when they get older, and so there it's normal. You grab a beer, you drink in the streets with your friends if you want. And here I can't do it. I can't do it, not at all. Here I go to the grocery store, and there's a huge concern to have the ID and check if I have more than 21. And
which you do. You're over
which I do.
21.
And so that's part of my one of my biggest struggles. But
Sure.
I don't stress a lot because of it. I can live with that. And the other one, it's the weapons, because here, even in school, I see a lot of people carrying weapons, guns, and in Portugal, not at all. There's people are not allowed, not even a lot of times, not even police officers are allowed to carry gun or to use a gun. So it's the approach. There, people avoid weapons. They don't want weapons close. Of course, this is a general thought. There's always exceptions, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big aspect of the culture here in Utah is the right to own guns. So I'm sure that's a big change.
Yeah,
from you. Did you experience culture shock when you first got here?
Not that much. Actually, I was thinking a few weeks ago. I think I'm experiencing more culture shock right now than at the beginning, because at the beginning I try all the time to be open-minded, to be an open person. So at the beginning I was really open to everything. I wanted to know the culture. I wanted to meet people even from this culture. I wanted to just explore. But because I'm from a big city and I have much more things to do and much more opportunity. I can go to different gallery every day. I can go to different restaurant. I can do all different bunch of stuff there. So right now, after almost 2 years, I'm still focused, but I'm getting tired of my routine here in Cedar City. So it's when I'm struggling more right now than at the beginning. So I can say, I don't know if it's culture shock, but I can say that I'm struggling more right now.
Yeah, I think in some ways that could be. I think sometimes culture shock affects people immediately, and then with other people sometimes it's a little bit more delayed. And like you mentioned, when things are maybe that honeymoon period where everything's when you're open and things are exciting is a little bit longer.
Because like I said, I'm a person with a lot of goals in life, and I try to pursue all that goals, do everything every day. And the struggle comes when you understand that you probably can't pursue that goals in the place you are right now. And doesn't mean that it's a closed idea in my head. I have a lot of flexibility, or I try at least to be open all the time. But yeah, let's see. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have, what would be a piece of advice you would give someone who's considering studying in a different country?
No matter like the country, just a different country.
It can be, yeah, anyone who's considering moving to a different country to study.
Just be humble. Just respect, to be respected, and just work a lot and try to be open-minded, to question, to communicate, to share with a lot of the people, and be able to be open to receive what the people have to share with you. Yeah,
That's good advice. Solid.
be open-minded. I think be open-minded, humble, and respect the culture. I think those are the main points.
Great. Awesome. Good advice, Tiago. Thanks. So our next song, this is a group from Portugal. So from your home country. They have musical origins in Angola in Central Africa. This is a group that I saw perform live at a music festival a couple years ago in San Francisco, and it was hard not to get up and start moving. In San Francisco. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
At the Treasure Island Music Festival. This group is called Buraka son Sistema, and the song is Kalemba Wegue Wegue. You're tuning into Thunder 91.1, and that is Buraka from Sistema with their song Kalemba, or Wegue Wegue.
There's a pretty girl by the window.
Okay. So we're back in the studio with Tiago from Portugal. I've done some online research and pulled up some facts about Portugal.
Oh, yeah.
As always, I always like to say that I've done no fact checking on this, so can't guarantee that they're all right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to check them together.
I will try.
You mentioned earlier you were talking about the history of Lisbon. So it says there are archaeological elements dating back to 1200 BC in Lisbon. So that makes it older than Rome and one of the oldest cities in Europe.
It's probably true. I'm not sure about the actual date, 1200 BC, but it's old. We had civilizations before the Roman Empire there, so it's pretty old. So I believe it's a true fact.
Yeah, and can you still see some of the are there ruins in the city?
Artifacts? Yeah. They actually discovered recently a theater there. Happens a lot in Lisbon that Lisbon, it's a really difficult city to construct everything. Because during times and times, different civilizations constructed on top of the past buildings, on top and on top and on top. So what happened nowadays? It's if the government wants to construct, for example, a subway, when they are taking the dirt, you have to help me here explaining when they are opening, excavating, and they find all the time or Roman stuff or old things, and everything has to stop. The archaeologists need to come, and so it's really difficult city to construct.
Sure. Cool.
They discovered recently a Roman theater, and it's the second capital in Europe with a Roman theater. There's a Rome and Lisbon. I'm pretty sure about this fact that it's the second. There's only two cities in Europe with a Roman theater, which is Lisbon and Rome, and there's a few with amphitheater. When it's smaller than a theater.
Amphitheater.
There's a few with amphitheater, but not with a theater. So they discovered that one recently.
Lots of good history in Lisbon. Fact number 2, as of July 2014, 70% of the energy in Portugal came from renewable sources such as wind, hydro, and solar power.
Again, I'm not sure about the 70%. I'm sorry, John. But there's a lot of investment in renewable energy, wind, hydro, solar power, and more and more and more new generation. The new generations in Portugal are really concerned about the environment, and there's a lot of recycle. The government a few years ago invested a lot in advertisement for the recycling to educate the new generations about the importance of recycling. You can recycle almost everything, even oil, like kitchen oil. You have something to recycle kitchen oil. So it's really good, and people, again, it's a general thought. Nowadays the new generations are more concerned about the energy and the environment.
Yeah, I think Portugal's made a lot of headlines and set a pretty good example for how to advance some eco-friendly policy.
Yeah, it's good.
Number 3, so we're getting to surfing here.
Yeah.
Hawaiian surfer Garrett McNamara surfed the biggest wave ever recorded in the coastal town of Nazaré.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
That was in 2011. The wave was 90 feet or 27.5 meters high.
Yeah.
And I've seen videos of this, so I know it's true.
It's true, but there's always a lot of discussion, in surfing, because waves are different from some waves are taller, but they are softer. I don't know the word. I don't. The waves are different. Okay, the way that the wave breaks. Some people say, okay, that one is much taller, but that one is much more difficult to ride. So that's
so the biggest wave doesn't necessarily mean the most difficult.
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of big wave riding, but it's true that he surfed the biggest wave. It's in Nazaré. Nazaré, yeah.
Is that close to where you're from?
1 hour and a half from Lisbon.
Have you ever
north.
surfed Nazaré?
No.
Was it a little too big for you?
No, in Nazaré, it's not the name of the wave. It's the name of the location. Okay, it's the city. So the wave, it's called it's in a Praia do Norte, which is the North Beach, and so Nazaré, it's the location. There's more than just that wave in Nazaré. There's more waves. I never surfed there, but and I never surfed big waves, if that is your question. And there's not only big waves in Nazaré in Portugal, and I never surfed big waves.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't think I'd want, after watching the video, I don't think I would put myself through that.
You have to have
dangerous.
a lot of guts.
A lot of guts. Or just be crazy. Portugal was the first country to abolish the death penalty. So the last execution was in 1846, but officially abolished in 1867.
Yeah, I read this before.
Yeah,
Probably. I can't prove the dates again, but I read this before, and I believe, which is good. We were one of the first countries to start the Inquisition. We started almost the market of slavers. Portugal and Spain. We were selling slavers, of course, back in 15th century and 16th century. We were selling to other countries in Europe. So, which is, I'm not proud about that in the history, but I can't change. And so it's good that there's not that penalty. The highest, so you can stay, again, you have to help me here, but the highest, the longest time you can stay in the prison in Portugal is for 25 years.
So the maximum sentence.
The sentence,
25
yeah.
years.
The
So there's no
maximum
life
sentence.
sentences?
No.
Interesting.
It's 25 years.
So would you say that is there more of an emphasis on
I
rehabilitation?
hope I'm not wrong.
Well, like we said, we don't fact check our facts
but
here,
it's-
so.
But I'm pretty sure it's
Okay.
25.
Yeah. Maybe if someone else is aware of that, they can.
And there's
Let
a
us know on
lot of
social media.
people are really aware about education inside the prisons. Like, even if you're a murderer, even if you're even if you did something to a child which is not good in the society, people believe that there's always a second chance, there's always a second opportunity. So there's always a try to educate and try to have,
Yeah, it's an interesting difference from the United States. All right, our last fact here. This is kind of a quiz too. I'm going to put you on the spot. So Portuguese is the 6th most spoken language in the world, and it's the official language of 9 countries in the world. Okay, how many can you name?
the 9 countries.
Yeah.
So not counting Portugal, right?
No, we're counting Portugal.
Portugal, Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, Timor, and Guinea-Bissau, how many?
So you're missing 3. You said Timor, which is
Macau. You consider Macau? No.
No, but it's spoken in Macau. But it's not a sovereign nation.
Angola.
You need some hints.
Yeah, help me here.
So there's one that starts with an S. Sao Tome.
São Tomé in
Sao
Príncipe.
Tome.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's the? You were about to say another word
No.
with a P.
Príncipe?
Principe.
No, but it's the same. It's São Tomé and Príncipe.
They're counted as 2 separate ones on this list.
Really?
Yeah. And
No.
then the last one,
It's the same country. It's the São Tomé and Príncipe.
like I mentioned, none of these have been fact checked. So
Oh, okay.
Who knows? The last one is Equatorial Guinea.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's nine countries, and then you mentioned Macau, East Timor, and Goa, which is an area in India where they speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Portuguese influence around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a result of some really long,
true.
important history.
It's true.
Cool.
But I'm the only one in Cedar City.
It's true. You're the one that's bringing the legacy here.
Making the difference.
Do you have any other things we should know about Portugal? Any lasting information for us before we go?
Soccer, it's really good, but don't give your life to it.
It's not worth it.
I don't know. Just Portugal, it's an amazing place. I'm missing my friends. I want to say some words to them. I wanted to say...
Go for it.
Em português, dar aqui grande abraço à Rebaldaria Carcavelina, Irmandade Carcavelina, e aos meus amigos todos de Carcavelos e de Cascais.
And that means you miss him terribly.
Yeah. We will be together soon.
Yeah. Shout out to Tiago's friends in Portugal.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Always
it.
a pleasure.
If you see Tiago in the halls, make sure you wave at him.
Yeah.
Say what's up.
Make sure you pay me beer.
All right. Thanks, Tiago.
Bye-bye.
So if you're interested in what we're doing as an international office here on campus, you can follow us on social media for updates on our events and other happenings around campus. We have a Facebook page at SUU International, and our Instagram is SUU International with no spaces. Or you can always drop by our offices in the Sharwin Smith Center, Student Center, room 169. Speaking of upcoming events, we have a Cedar City, Las Vegas blood drive, which is happening on the 5th, which is tomorrow, and it's from 1:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. There's a free shuttle that leaves from the Nest, which is in Student Center 178. So please, if you have the time and are willing, please come donate blood to help with the tragedy that was in Las Vegas this week. We also have some upcoming events from our international office. Our homecoming parade is on Saturday. Our international students are going to be participating in that homecoming parade. So they're going to be carrying flags from all of the countries that are represented on campus. So please come out and join the parade and support our international students who are going to be a part of that. Next Thursday, October 12th, we are having an event in our space in the International Affairs Office. It is a Saudi Arabian cultural showcase. So you can come, that is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., and you can come experience some elements of Saudi Arabian culture and interact with some of our students. So that'll be a really good time. And then the following Thursday, October 18th, is our biggest event of the year. There's a lot of free food involved, so you're not going to want to miss that. It is our International Food Fair, and it will be taking place in the ballroom and rotunda from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're doing it a little bit differently this year, so it's going to be a street market style international food fair. So you'll be able to sample food and do activities from all over the world during that event. As always, thank you so much for listening, and please tune in next week for more international music and interviews with international students here at SUU. And please, as always, be good to one another.
This is Tia from The Morning Brew,